feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hello, my human popsicles. How are you tonight? I hope you are thawing out after it seems like it's the coldest day ever. Well, at least since last winter, anyway, in the USA. It is, I've seen some photos out of America. It looks pretty bad out there. Um, we're gonna talk a little bit about that to start while we get settled in. And we got some true crime updates to go. Did you guys see another person shot today in the protests? Geez, it seems like protesting is now becoming a lethal activity. Apparently, you have a chance of getting absolutely obliterated. Apparently, if you go to a protest in Minnesota. But we got more crime updates than that. Got some good news. It seems like we may have a guest. I'm not sure when. We're in brief discussions at the moment, but it seems like we will have a guest to come and talk to you guys in the near future. Someone very interesting. I wonder if you guys can guess who it might be. But someone, if I don't know if anyone will guess, but you might be able to. If you can, you're very clever. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the guy that's been arrested with David. The guy who, Leon? His name is Neo Langston. And he has been arrested for not showing up to that grand jury investigation. And I find that very interesting. He's currently being held with no bond. So it sounds like the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division is keeping him on an out of state warrant. So, yeah, we'll look into that. Hey guys, how are you all? How's it going out there in the freezing cold? I heard from some people in the areas where the snowstorm is underway, and a lot of people are having a really tough time. I really hope it hurries up and goes away. I think Monday for the majority of you will be the first time that your temperatures start climbing out of that ice cave that you guys are currently in. Um, good to see you all. Good to see you. Hey, Green Fairy Light. Good to see you. Danny's here. SP Mama. Sendrin. Hey, Sendrin. How are you? Good to have you. Montana May is here. Marylander said a guest. Yes, we are having a guest. We're currently working out when, what day, what time, how we'd like to do it, this type of thing. But the person that is going to come on is very accomplished, knows a lot about true crime, and I think you will find it very interesting. So keep an eye out for that. I think it'll be this week sometime. So sometime in the next 7 days, that person will come on. You guys will hear all about it as soon as we get everything sort of concrete, signed on the dotted line, and we work out a day and time and stuff like that. I will start promoting it. You guys will know who it is, and we're going to do a little bit of investigation before they come in. We're going to oh, I almost said something that would have given away who it is. We're going to do some research into them. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to do some research into what they do. So they do something in the world of true crime, something. And we're going to have a look at it before they come on so that you guys are all caught up to speed before they're on the show. Is it Stacy? No, I could have Stacy on here any night. It's fine. No, it is not Stacy. No, it's not her. I've done shows with Stacy before. What are you talking about? SF Investigates? They're not American. The person who's coming on is not an American. The person who's coming on is an Australian. And that's all I'm going to give you. Because I think if I give you the state, it might narrow it down too much. So they are an Australian. They do something involved with true crime, and I think they might know more about true crime than I do, which is a pretty big thing to say. Gail said, "Is it a police or journalist or anything?" I think I'm not going to give you guys what it is yet. I think when I'm ready to tell you who it is, then I'll tell you what field they're in. But I think you will enjoy it either way. SP1 said, "I love the shows with you and Stacy." Yeah, me and Stacy do shows every now and then. The George, I can't remember what we used to call her, but anyway, we used to do the shows together, and we haven't done one in a while. Maybe we'll do one again soon. I think the last one we did, we talked about that crazy. You guys remember that story out of Nevada? We did that story out of Nevada where someone in Nevada had dumped cremains everywhere, all over like the sort of desert area in Nevada. Hundreds of cremains of people, and I don't think they ever figured out who might have done that. You got zero snow? Oh, they shortchanged you. They shortchanged you. Hey Trish, how are you? Oh, slushy Scotland. The New Yorkers don't have anything on you. All right, hold on. Nevada. I don't think I ever got an update to it. It was in the summer of 25. I know that. Ah. Do you remember Ping came up with the theory that um not too far before they found the cremains in Nevada, there was a big scandal that happened in the funeral business in Nevada. And what happened is there were claims that some funeral parlors in Nevada were not processing bodies quick enough. They were literally storing bodies at room temperature to the point where neighbors could smell it. And like they had like shops that were adjoining the funeral parlors and they could smell it. They could smell decomp. They are saying that their investigation right now is focusing on whether those remains came from a funeral parlor that was forcibly shut down and that they dumped what they had in the desert to get rid of it, which makes a lot of sense when you know the background of what had been going on in Nevada at the time. Yeah, I think it's highly disrespectful. Because you can never find out who these people are again, ever. Because how? They don't have nameplates. You can't, I mean, you might be able to DNA test it or something, but there's a photo of like what it looked like out in the desert. Like it was severely disrespectful to just dump piles of cremains. There you go. There's more. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it in doing over a decade of true crime. It was really, really very horrible, disrespectful, not treating the dead with any type of respect. I mean, I don't know how you do that, but yeah, they are now investigating. They believe the only place it could have come from is a funeral parlor that had shut down, and they had forcibly shut down quite a few of them. So, yeah, that does make a lot of sense that whoever got shut down went, "Oh, well, we can't do our business anymore, so let's just dump it out in the desert." It's really horrible. Gail says there's normally tags in cremains. But do you think a funeral parlor who are not following the rules, do you think they put little tags inside of the remains because, they obviously follow all of the guidelines? I think no. I think not really. So no, I don't believe they would do that. Danny said so disrespectful. I couldn't imagine one of my family members there. They did remove what they could, but it's the nature of human cremains that you can't get all of it. It's not possible. It's impossible. So at least part of these humans will never be whole again, and they will always be there in the desert, which I think is no greater sin against the dead than displacing their place of rest. So that's horrible. Hey Moonshadow, what's up, my friend? High five. Good to see you again. Moonshadow said, I not see that on my brother's ashes. Moonshadow's poor brother does not have a little tag. So no tags. Yeah, that was a very sad story. But the update to it is that they are still investigating and that no one right now has been held accountable for dumping. They reckon the original pile was around 100 human remains. By the time they went out there and searched the entire area, they found over 300 people in cremain form, but 300 people. Palm mortuaries and cemeteries removed the remains and have put them into proper storage, and they're looking at potential identification with plans for dignified burials for all of them. Palm mortuaries and cemeteries, they are a good company. They are very kind. Here's the update for that. I'm going to give you the update here from, what is this? 8 News Now in Las Vegas.
Hundreds of piles of cremated remains found in the desert. Now our 8 News Now investigators are learning more about the investigation well underway to find out who did it, as another funeral home steps up to give all those people a proper resting place. Our investigators breaking the news about that disturbing discovery in Searchlight about an hour south of the valley. That story made international headlines, and today only 8 News Now investigator David Charnes back in Searchlight as another funeral home took care of each and every one.
Behind every pile, every scoop, there's a name, a person whose cremated remains ended up here, miles from the nearest town in the middle of the southern Nevada desert. Each little mound, one of more than 300 dumped here this summer. From the air, you can see just how expansive an area it really is. And if you look closely, you can see the helpers on the ground Wednesday working to make it right.
You saw those piles, what went through your mind?
I think most of us just felt like, what a shame.
Selena
We have to
DeLulo
do
is the
something about
president of
this, and it
Palm
made us want to
Mortuaries
be
and
here even more.
Cemeteries. She and about a dozen others taking each one and placing it into an urn. Dumping hundreds of remains like this on federal land is a crime. And Nevada law requires funeral operators protect the dignity of all remains in their care, no matter if someone fails to claim them.
I don't know if it was the wishes for these people to be out here, so that's kind of what goes through my mind. If this is not how they would want to be remembered, we would just want to make sure we have a place for them to be.
That place for now, a location at one of Palm's cemeteries, a place where family and loved ones can find them, a place not all the way out in the desert where someone cares.
I think it's important to us to make sure that these people are not forgotten and not left. It's important to our community and our profession that we demonstrate how much we do care about these people.
The 8 News Now investigators learning all these remains appear to be from a commercial funeral business, one that likely closed or swapped hands recently. Our investigators have been in contact with a business who we are not naming that fits that description. Its leadership tells us they are not involved. We should also mention these remains have no connection to McDermott's funeral home, which the state shut down this summer.
Interesting that they're saying that it does not have any relation to the one shut down over the summer. I wonder why they're so sure it doesn't. Is that because that one that got shut down had overview from the authorities when it was shut down, and they would have known if they had 300 random cremains lying in there? So we'll have to find out what happens next. But for now, the people are at least in the best way they could retrieved, and they are now resting at Palm Cemeteries and Mortuaries in Nevada. So what a great company. Went out there, did it on their own accord. I'm sure the government will send them a check at some point because of the work they've done. But you could see that lady actually cared, It's nice because we often think of the funeral and mortuary business as a lot of people who are only there for the money. They really don't care about your loved ones. There's so many horror stories. But to see someone who genuinely cares and loves what they do, that's a really nice company. Good on them for actually stepping up and trying to make it right. They're called Palm Mortuaries and Cemeteries. Where are they? They're called Dignity Memorial. That is where they're from. And they have a very high rating, 4.8 stars out of 5 in over 7,000 reviews in Nevada. That's pretty good. So it shows you they are a very respectful company. The fact that they have almost a 5-star review out of almost 8,000 people who have used their service, that is amazing. So it doesn't surprise me. You saw her on the video. She seemed like a really nice lady. So Kathy said we should send that place a thank you. I was thinking that too. I'm sure it must have been a lot of man and woman hours to sit out in that desert and scoop 300 piles into those little black boxes with bags that they did. And that's really nice of them. It's nice to see something happen very tragic, but something good happen at the end of it. So I think they said they're going to track down who these people might be. I don't know how you do that because it's not like they had nameplates or any type of identification. And because they have been cremated, it may be that there is no way to get DNA from it. It depends how it was done, how bad the remains are, is there anything left? There's a whole bunch of different hurdles. So, Woman of Steel, hey, my friend, how are you? I've never been to a mortuary or funeral home before that didn't care. Most of them do care. I think in doing true crime for as long as I have, and how many bloody stories I've read about funeral homes who do not care, while I've never met one, and I'm like you, you haven't met one either. I haven't either, but there are plenty of freaking horror stories out there. I mean, just last year there was like 4 or 5 that were shut down in the USA for improper storage of remains, letting remains rot, or leaving them out, biohazard, not dealing with stuff properly, leaving bodies, all sorts of things, all sorts of really gross things that you hope would never happen, but they do. Just like in Nevada, a couple got shut down last year for the same thing, storing bodies. One of them was stored for almost 2 years. 2 years, and they did nothing with it. Supposed to do something with it before 90 days. Supposed to either bury or cremate within 90 days. So yeah, I can do that. Hold on. I might contact the lady from there and see if she'll come and talk to us about what she had to do out in the desert. I'll email them and I'll see if they'll come on and talk to us. This is them here, Palm Mortuaries and Cemeteries. They're in Henderson, Las Vegas. So they're out there. Seems like a good company. All right. Let's talk about the storm of the century. Now, I hear Trish apparently was able to snuggle with her gorillas and her dogs, and she survived the night. I heard she's okay, and I heard she had to break into her Twinkie supply. She hasn't. Did you know this about Trish? She has an emergency Twinkie supply that she keeps with her canned water in her home in case of, disaster. She has canned water, cream of corn or cream of wheat, and Twinkies. That's all she has. And apparently she had to break into her Twinkie supply. So she may have to go shopping when this is all over so she can get more Twinkies. All right. Who's laughing? Are you laughing? Stop laughing. This is a serious subject. All right, I want to talk about the weather just for a couple minutes. I want to see what all our friends are going through in America tonight, because it looks pretty brutal. Already, multiple states of emergency have gone out, which is horrible. New Mexico Electric Company calls off restoration efforts. So people who have had their power go out are going to have to wait a little bit longer in New Mexico. That's not good. Apparently, like these trees have come down on the lines, but the conditions are so dangerous that they cannot go out and try and fix it right now in New Mexico. And it sounds like tri-state areas next in the firing line, Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey, can expect heavy snowfall overnight, with some cities seeing up to 14 inches of snow. That is bonkers. I hope all our friends, we have people that watch from New York. I hope they're okay. Um, I didn't see anything about the freezing rain and the thunder ice. So I'm not sure who got much of it. But here we go. Tennessee National Guard. Overnight and into the morning, Tennessee National Guardsmen with the Memphis Safe Task Force were out assisting stranded motorists in winter weather and moving throughout the area. So good work to the Tennessee National Guard. That is great work. Columbus, Ohio, expecting the most snow in the next 2 days than it has seen in 20 years. Ugh, that's crazy. A lot of people having fun though. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, has your grocery store been wiped clean? This is the so people often ask, what do we see in Australia about the things that happen in America? The one big story that made it here was about your grocery stores being wiped clean of produce and things like that. So that's the big story that sort of came to Australia about the winter snow. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's like COVID again." So I don't know if your grocery store ended up like that, but I hope it didn't. Hold on, winter storm. Yeah, let's go to a better, more reputable. Oh, an update. So, you know how we had a few news channels and websites which we consider very racist against Australians? I fixed it. So now we can actually access all the American websites now, no problem. So I installed the new DNSing yesterday and I tested it out and it works perfectly. We can get into every website now. We get so now when I search in Google, I get American search results now. I don't get Australian. I actually get American. So every time I search something, it comes with as if I was in America. And this is the website that we were having trouble with yesterday, and I'll prove it to you. So this is WSB TV. This is the one we couldn't get into yesterday, and it's working fine. We can get into it. We can go to their main page. We can look, can go to their ice coverage here. They've got all their things here, their Storm Tracker HD. And yeah, so it works for us and we won't have any problems going forward anymore with not being able to get into certain websites. So good work. We fixed it. Took a few hours and I coded it and got it working on the router, but we can access it now. All right. I want to take you out to a different website. Let's go to the running live coverage from NBC. I want to see what's going on like right now. What's going on right now? Oh, really? That's interesting. Check this out. In New York City, they outfitted trash trucks with snow plows. Is that normal? Do they do that with with garbage trucks? That's pretty cool. So they got their normal trash collecting trucks and put a snow plow on the front of it, and now these trucks are going out there to do all like the street clearing. That's great. New Jersey Transit will suspend services through Monday. So if you're in New Jersey and you need to get around, I don't think you're going to be going anywhere. Apparently, light rail bus and access link will begin at 4 a.m. for a suspension. Will run until 2 p.m. We'll begin. So it's saying here because of the impending weather, It will begin at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are going to have no service until Monday. So on Monday, they will provide an update for you guys about when your public transport will come out. Now they're saying more than 145,000 customers were without electricity shortly before 6 p.m. Eastern, which is about 5.5 hours ago now. But most of them are in Texas and Louisiana. So Louisiana and Texas copying the brunt of it right now. What else are they saying? Apparently, if you rely on DoorDash or Grubhub, they are possibly suspending deliveries. So if that's how you sort of get your food or whatever, you might want to make sure you do that before they cut off their service until conditions improve. If you're in Columbus, Ohio, which we do have people from Ohio in the chat, they're saying that apparently because of how bad the snowfall is going to be over there, they actually cannot put out plows on the street. That the snow is going to be so heavy that they can't do anything about it. That they cannot have the snow plows out there getting the snow away. That's crazy. How bad does it have to be that a snow plow can't work? I've never heard of like, wow, we can't do anything. The snow plows, they're being, it's too much snow. I've never heard of that before. That's bonkers. 10 to 14 inches of snowfall for Columbus, Ohio. 10 to 14 inches. Ugh. That's you may have to live in an igloo. If you are in Columbus, you may no longer have a home. You may have to now build an ice structure, an igloo, and you'll have to live in there. I'm sorry. Apparently, that's what's going to happen. 17 states have declared a state of emergency. Damn. What does that mean? So, for people who don't know, what happens when they do a state of emergency? Well, what it means for you is that it's your local government or state government basically saying, we're in a lot of trouble. We need access to more funding. We need access to other agencies which can help. And we need an injection of federal cash. And that's what it basically is. So when they declare these state of emergencies, it just means that they need help from the federal government. They need an influx of cash, supplies, sometimes people like military and stuff like that. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I hope in your area that's not what has to happen. Let's hope not. Not in your area. You don't have to build an ice igloo. Woman of Steel said, "I wouldn't want anyone to die to bring my fat butt food." Actually, that's a good question. Hands up, people listening tonight. Hands up if you're in an area where it is snowing and you have had a food delivery over the sort of storm. So during the storm activity, how many of you have had like Grubhub or I don't know, like Uber Eats or something like that? How many of you have had a successful food delivery come to your home while it's been like bucketing down ice and snow? I'd be interested to know whether people have been able to get a pizza or, something like that, whether they are still out there delivering or not. Marilyn said, my car is in the garage. Is it? Well, I hope it is. Lisa said, I never get delivery if it's too hot. We don't either, but maybe for a different reason. In Australia, in summer, I never order pizza when it's hot. And you go, Ping, that's a really weird thing to say. Why would you not order a pizza when it's hot? This is why. In a pizza place where they cook pizza, right? When it's hot, they have those ovens, right, that you put the pizza on, or a wood fire oven. When it's hot and it's really hot, like 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 110 degrees, those ovens get thermal runaway. They might set it at a certain degrees or whatever, but it keeps going up because of the heat in the atmosphere. So you will always get burnt food during a hot day. You will always get crappy food. because the ovens can't regulate their temperature when it's so hot. So you'll always get like a burnt pizza. It'll always be terrible. So I never order pizza when it's like a heat wave. Montana said pizza oven's very hot to work around. Right. And when the atmosphere around it is even hot, like it's hot as well, that oven can't cool down. So you can't regulate that temperature inside of that oven. So instead of staying at like 200 and whatever degrees it's cooking at, it'll start climbing over the hours and you'll end up with burnt pizza. It's just bad. So there's a lesson in food science from Ping. Danny said they sweat all over your pizza as well. What pizza shop do you go to that they sweat on your pizza? Is this some sort of like, is it like hot yoga, but it's like hot pizza? And you're like, yes, hi, I'd like to order a pizza. And they're like, hi, this is hot and sweaty pizza. We deliver to you. It might be a little drippy. Is that what it is? Is it like hot yoga? I've never heard of sweaty pizza. It sounds like some sort of franchise that won't come to Australia. Terrible. All right, let's talk about some true crime. I hope all my friends in the snow areas are okay. It really seems brutal. Tremendous amount of sleet will hit Philadelphia this weekend. I blame the Eagles for that. South Carolina fearing worst ice storm in 2 decades. We have a lot of friends in Carolina. A lot of people who watch this channel are from either North or South Carolina. I really hope they're okay. They've already been through a lot. The people in Carolina have had like a really rough few years since they had that hurricane that came inland, dumped all that water. They've just had a really hard time. I hope they're going to be okay. I really do. What is it saying here? Around 194 million people from Arizona to Maine remain under winter alerts this afternoon. Snowfall totals as of 2 p.m. include 7.8 inches in Little Rock, Arkansas. Really? 7 inches in Beloit? I'm probably Beloit. I don't know how to pronounce that town. Kansas. And 3.5 inches in Memphis, Tennessee. So people in Memphis in Tennessee seem to be getting at least some snow. Kathy said she got none, and she's in TN as well. So I'm confused where the demarcation line is in TN, where you get 3.5 inches, or if you're somewhere where Kathy is, you get none. Kathy said, "Here's a fun fact: Chick-fil-A will deliver poolside in the summer." Okay. Sure, I'd like to do that. Get my Chick-fil-A at home. Woman of Steel said, "I hope they're out of that soon." Yeah, I hope so too. It doesn't sound great over there. Yeah, have you guys ever seen this before? This is from a guy called Joseph Frascati, and this is what I was talking about yesterday. I'll play a little bit of his video. This is plain de-icing, and I was telling you about it yesterday. They use propylene glycol on the airplane. So they spray it with the propylene glycol, and what it does is it doesn't allow the aircraft to ice up. So they spray it all over the wings and the body of the aircraft, and it stops ice like accumulating on it, because what happens is if you get ice on the wings, there's no airflow over the wing of the airplane, and it'll crash. It won't be able to lift. So they spray it with the propylene glycol, and it allows it to not get icy. It allows it not to get icy. Montana said if they get a heat wave after this, they'll have flooding problems next. Let's hope not. Let's hope they don't get a heat wave. Kathy Lynch says Nashville got a good deal of snow. East Tennessee got nothing. Is that forever or maybe tomorrow? Because the weather system is moving east. It's moving in. It's actually moving up into the northeast. So maybe East Tennessee will get something over the next 48 hours. So keep an eye out. Just because you didn't get anything today, it doesn't mean tomorrow and Monday it'll be the same. Trish said the flooding after the thaw will cause havoc also. It could be. Sean said, I just ordered barbecue chicken, too hot to cook. Barbecue chicken's pretty good. It's a de-icing agent. Yeah, that's what propylene glycol is. Woman of Steel said, at least when the stuff in your fridge freezer begins to melt, you can toss it in a snowbank. Ask me how I know that. You might attract wild animals to your home. Gayla said Aberdeen was covered in snow, then it all melted and they had bad flooding. I think that's what a lot of people in the chat were saying. They're worried about what happens after all of this. Are they going to have some sort of flooding event, which it could? Virginia also in the firing line, anticipating catastrophic. That's not a word they should use lightly. Catastrophic storm. Damn. I hope our friends in Virginia are going to be okay. Look at Nashville. This is a photo from Nashville. Good work, Nashville. Look at that. People having fun, sliding down the hill. They people in East Tennessee so jealous, so jelly. They're all like, "Whoa, we didn't get any snow." Your friends in the city are having a lot of fun. Montana said we use a snowbank like that. It's pretty good. Donna said, I'm cooking roast chicken, got the air conditioning running flat. It's not too bad in Melbourne today. Yesterday was like 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Today it's back into the high 80s, so it's not too bad over here today. Yeah, that looks great. That looks like a lot of fun. All right, should we do some true crime now? Should we talk about things that go wrong in the world? All right, let's talk about things that go wrong in the world. And I wanted to give you a bit of an update about that little missing girl. And I'm going to grab my story here for you. And that is Joseph Andrew Bragg. Remember we spoke about this guy? Joseph Andrew. No, really? I didn't see this update and I just got it. That's not good. Remember we was talking about that's that little girl, Brie Lynn. Remember she went missing on Thursday? Oh, guys, I hate to tell you this, but the worst fears that you remember we heard he got charged with kidnapping, and we're like, great, he got charged with kidnapping. I hope that's all he gets charged with. No, unfortunately. Remember that other type of charge we were all hoping he would not get charged with because we were hoping it never happened? He is getting charged with that, unfortunately. So that little girl was essayed during her kidnap, and it sounds like they are charging him with that offense now. That is horrible. Oh, man. I think we're all hoping he was just some sort of weirdo who abducted a little girl from a school bus. So they're saying here, according to the criminal complaint, the girl was reported missing after she didn't return home after school on Wednesday afternoon. Neighbors confirmed she had been dropped off by the school bus, but the home camera footage showed the girl turning around and walking back towards the bus stop out of view. And they say no other people or vehicles were seen in the footage, and a search of the neighborhood failed to locate the girl. The girl's mother told investigators about an unusual social media interaction in December with a person named Joseph Bragg who added her on Facebook. The mum says she initially added him back as she thought she recognized him as a relative of an associate, but determined after communication with that individual that they did not know each other. The person asked the girl's mother whether she had children and said they wanted children of their own. The individual explained he works in childcare and asked if the girl's mother knew anyone in Zimmerman and Princeton area looking for services. The mother eventually blocked the individual. The complaint says authorities connected the Facebook profile to Joseph Andrew Bragg, learned he had access to a rental pickup truck, and started tracking his cell phone, which showed him traveling south towards Iowa. They then notified other law enforcement agencies. Just after 12:30 a.m. on Thursday, an Albert Lee police officer spotted a matching pickup at a truck stop, conducted a traffic stop for a broken tail light, and found Bragg inside with the missing girl in the back seat. The complaint says additional investigation showed the rental truck was near the victim's home around the time she went missing on Wednesday. and also the previous afternoon. And the complaint alleges Bragg was at a Plymouth hotel with the girl after the abduction. During a later interview with investigators, the girl described being SA'd by Bragg. Bragg did not provide a statement to investigators. He was due in court on Friday afternoon. That is not what we were hoping for. Not at all. That is yeah. So this guy had been basically stalking her for months. That's what it sounds like. That he had been somehow following her digitally online, but also possibly in the neighborhood too. He saw his opportunity to abduct her and did so. And then he took her to a hotel room. This guy is a very, very bad person, not a good person at all. And I hope they don't ever get out of jail. What a horrible person. Let me. So apparently they have now filed charges against Zimmerman. So I'm going to take you to that. This is from Care 11. Care 11, a great news station out that way.
A 28-year-old man is now facing felony charges in the abduction of a 7-year-old girl from Sherburne County. And we got new court documents today that were just filed late this afternoon, and they share some pretty disturbing information about what exactly happened in this case. Gordon Severson breaks down what we know.
Newly filed court records show Joseph Bragg has been charged with felony kidnapping and felony sexual conduct. According to records, Bragg reached out to the young girl's mother in December on social media, asking questions about her and whether she had kids. The mother says she blocked his account. The night the girl was taken, records show investigators quickly discovered that Bragg had access to a rental vehicle, a white pickup truck with a Tennessee license plate. Court records show a police officer in Albert Lea saw that same truck driving near a truck stop in Albert Lea. He pulled it over, and Bragg told the officer he was on his way to Iowa. The officer noticed the missing girl in the back seat. Bragg was arrested, and records show that night he took the girl to a hotel room in the metro area, carrying a large red suitcase, and she may have been inside.
Pretty concerned.
Cassidy Wise is an administrator of a local babysitting group on social media. She says several members have come forward saying Bragg had reached out to them offering to watch their kids.
A lot of those people who had said that he reached out said his interactions, they just felt kind of weird. It felt like he was pressuring them into letting him babysit.
Wise says she hasn't heard of any members who agreed to let Bragg watch their kids. She posted a warning Friday morning encouraging parents in the group to always screen people before leaving them alone with their kids.
I don't know about screening people. I think the message should be, if you had any interaction with Bragg, especially with this babysitter thing, you need to report that to the investigators. This guy needs to be looked into. Who knows how many other victims there might be? Not everyone is as smart as this particular lady is. Some people are far too trusting. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has done this before to another little girl. So the message should be, if you've had any contact with Andrew Bragg, that you contact those investigators, hand over everything you have, and let them look into it. Don't just be like, oh, they got him now, don't worry about it. There could be other victims out there. So this guy is a real, we talk about what are the real boogeymen in our lives. This guy is one of them. He literally abducted a girl off a school bus. It's like the stuff you see in movies. It's like everything we see in like a horror film. He is literally a boogeyman. So this guy, and that poor little girl, man, 7 years old, just wanted to go home after school. And instead, this guy takes her to a hotel and subjects her to things that a little 7-year-old girl shouldn't even know about as of yet. Far too young to even know about whatever that is. Should be left to be a child. have a childhood, have fun, go play with little friends, that thing. Not be taken to a hotel room like it's your freaking wedding night. It's bizarre. This guy needs to be off the street, no bail, and let him rot in jail.
I just hope every single one of them are using those vetting processes because that's so important. You're leaving your child in the hands of somebody else for however long period of time.
A Sherburne County spokesperson says that investigators are now trying to determine whether Bragg had any interactions with other kids in the area. He is currently in jail, and officials tell me that the bail has been set at $2 million.
Damn right, it should be $2 million. He doesn't have that money, so good. He's probably going to stay in jail until trial. And the story ended up way worse than we all thought it was going to be. I mean, I know we were all hoping that the little girl did not, have any SA. Just awful that it seems like that is what it's going to be. Okay. Yeah, so it's not even just SA, not that it makes it any different, but it sounds like the word they are using here is highlighted at the top of the sentence right here. I'm not allowed to say it on YouTube, but it's the word beginning with the letter R, which, oh my God. This guy literally looks like he is an extra in the movie Trolls. He looks like a troll. And I mean, considering how many people turned out in that town, how many was it again? 700 people turned out to search for that little girl. 700 people in the cold, in the icy cold, turned out to search for that little girl. I'm surprised there's not like people with pitchforks and all sorts of things down at the local, wherever he's held in a detention center, demanding him come out and get the police to put him out there, because I'm sure the community is absolutely furious that this guy has come into their community and done this to that little girl. 700 people turned out to try and search for her. They're saying here his charges are one felony count of kidnapping, and kidnapping to facilitate a felony or flight, and one felony charge of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, which they're calling R word, which is horrific. Really is. What hotel? So he went to a Ramada Inn in Plymouth, and he reserved a room from December 27th, 2025 through January 21st, 2026. So he's been planning this. He must have been. The fact that he booked a room for almost a month, it tells me that this guy's come into the area to try and abduct this child. It has to be. It says here, Bragg used the Lyft ride service to take him and the girl from a house in the Hamel, Corcoran area to a Ramada Inn in Plymouth. Hotel surveillance footage showed him entering alone while carrying a large red suitcase that appeared to be heavy and hard for him to lift. So he basically put her in a suitcase to get her inside the hotel. And they're saying the child underwent a forensic interview and examination, and it was deemed that she had been SA'd. Ugh. I mean, you think about even the medical tests that they would have to do to her, those forensic tests that they have to do to find out if she has been SA'd or whatever. Even that is ultra invasive and really traumatic for that little girl. I know they're just trying to help and keep the guy who did it to her in jail, but the child doesn't understand that. The child understands that all you want to do is something very similar to what he did to her, and it must be extremely stressful for her. So that poor little girl, she needs a lot of a lot of love and care and she needs probably a lot of therapy and help, and for her parents too. Like the whole town should help them. If you know them, you know, be nice to them, try and help them. I'm sure they will. The town is lovely. Town's a great town. Warner still said, I would go to prison if they ever let him out if I was her mum. I think half the town would do it for him. Diane said, the poor kid, right. I mean, 7 years old, and you think of what she had to go through. I don't think any of us would ever want a child to ever be subjected to any of that. I mean, the kidnapping was bad enough. The stuff at the hotel just takes it to a whole nother level. What I wonder what sentence can you get in this area for one felony count of kidnapping to facilitate a felony of flight? Let's have a look. What is the penalty? Interesting. The actual offense and prison term for this offense is not that bad. It's which is a shame. It should be like life in jail. It's a prison term of between 3 and 11 years. Okay. Okay. So the 3 to 11 years is depending on the severity of the case, but a judge could impose an indefinite sentence. They could also impose a higher, far more restrictive term of imprisonment depending on the specifics of the case. Now, this guy has an aggravating factor. The aggravating factor is what happened at the hotel. So that'll be considered an aggravator to this first degree felony count. So I think. Okay, it says here if the victim is a child under the age of 13 or if a sexual motivation is involved, the penalties can be significantly higher, often leading to 10 years to life in prison. So he's looking at 10 to life in prison for what he did to that little girl. Good. Hope he never gets out. We don't need people like this in our community. Warner still said, how many people have we heard who had horrible experiences like this as children and grow up and say it ruined their lives? Hundreds. I hope that's not what happens to this little girl. I hope she's a strong enough little kid and her parents are great parents where they won't let that happen and they will make sure that she gets all the help she needs and they will just surround her with good things for the rest of her life. And we can all cross our fingers like this and hope that she turns out okay. And that while she'll carry this for the rest of her life, hopefully it won't define her life. That's what we hope for. Elizabeth said, oh my God, is this the girl kidnapped off the bus the other day? Yes. Yes, it is. It's that little 7-year-old girl. She seems like such a great little kid. She seemed like a great little girl. I mean, we all saw the photos of her, and I know they're trying to keep her name out of the press now, which is interesting. Here, I'll show you a photo, but I won't say her name, even though I know everyone knows it. It seems like they're trying to tell the media not to use her name anymore, which often happens when people have been arrested for a crime. All right, here, I'll show you a photo of her. There you go. Look at this cute little kid. What a lovely little girl. And she looks like any other little blonde-haired little 7-year-old kid. Don't talk to strangers, kids. I don't think she talked to strangers. I think this guy literally abducted her off the street. He had some sort of fixation on her, and as you heard, he even tried to friend her on Facebook until the mum figured out that the daughter didn't know this guy, and then she investigated it and blocked him. So when he was blocked, I think that may have aggravated him, and then he's done this. She's a survivor, definitely. Definitely. She's an underage victim. She is. Diane says, so cute. Yeah, look at that smile. Warner still said, Ping, what about all the boys who have been systematically abused by a certain church? I read story after story about ruined relationship, marriages, and their lives. I've not done a lot on the topic of the churches and how they affected the boys that were involved. I know very little about it. I know a little bit, but a little bit is enough to be dangerous because I may say the wrong things. So I only know sort of the Cliff Notes version of it. I know what happened, I know who's involved, but I don't know like the specifics. I just it's not something I've ever done a lot of research into. But look, that's your update. We were waiting for him to appear in court. He has now appeared in court. He now has that $2 million bail, which he's not going to fulfill. Not a chance. And hopefully he's going to stay in jail. I hope so. Let me double check. I'm going to check one other. Yeah, I want to go to KTSP 5 Eyewitness News. Is it this one? Hold on, guys. I think it is. It is. Yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to take you out to KTSP. It just has a little bit more. Probably stuff we've heard, but we'll play it anyway.
7-year-old Zimmerman girl is safe tonight with her family after police say she was abducted and taken to Albert Lee, more than 100 miles from her home.
And a man is in custody on suspicion of kidnapping, and authorities are calling this a stranger abduction.
Richard Reeve has the latest on the investigation and how the community went all out to find the girl.
From the Zimmerman neighborhood where that 7-year-old girl first disappeared.
It's a wonderful end to a tragic story.
To the authorities who tracked down the suspect, 28-year-old Joseph Andrew Bragg.
This is every family's worst nightmare.
There is relief the youngster is now safe.
I'm absolutely amazed on how this community came together to try to find this young girl.
Investigators say the girl got off the school bus here at 13th Street West around 4 Wednesday afternoon. But police say a miscommunication among family members delayed a report to police until sometime after 6 o'clock.
The scene was chaotic. There were numerous tips and speculation being called into law enforcement.
Well, this is a kid-friendly neighborhood, the kind of place where everybody seems to know everyone. In the midst of a frightening situation, 700 people came out to look for this little girl.
What was it like here last night? Everybody getting out, trying to help?
There's still people outside with flashlights and large groups, cars driving around, helicopters.
Searchers out late, even after authorities issued an Amber Alert at 11:45. The wait to send that out, investigators say, was intentional.
The decision at that time was to not send the Amber Alert out in fear that the suspect would be notified.
Using unnamed investigative techniques.
Yeah, it seems like they did a couple of things to not spook the guy. I think they had the tail on him within hours of her going missing. Like they said, the mum told them about that Facebook interaction, and then they started tracking him. So, yeah, the Amber Alert not going out until very right before. I think they most likely had already figured out where he was, and were going to go and get him. So, yes, they issued the Amber Alert, but they were already all over it. Like we said the other day, this particular police department did a great job. They turned this around from abducted girl to girl being located and suspect in custody in like 8 hours. They did a great job. So did the community. You saw all those people come out. I love that. You know, the one thing I love is when communities are able to work together for a common goal. And look at this. Look at all these people. Look how dressed and rugged up. You got like little kids out here, mom and dads, other people from the community. All these people wanted to come out and find this little girl. They did a great job. A great job. All of them. The cops, these people, they should all be very proud of the work they did. Lisbeth said, sorry if I missed it. But did police free her? Police freed her. They went and got her and arrested him at the hotel. I mean, sorry. They did a traffic stop. Sorry, my bad. They did a traffic stop and got him. Kathy said they didn't want him to unalive her. Yeah, they were well on top of it. Rachel said, now hopefully this little girl can get the help she needs. Hopefully. Callie Girl said, after the month-long stay in the motel, you just know he was going to kill her. I don't know. Yeah, she was only in the hotel for a few hours. It sounds like he had been staying there since late December and possibly been stalking children in the area. Like you heard, he'd been contacting other people that had access to children, wanting to babysit them. The guy is a he's a predator. That's the word for it. He is a predator. By the way, hey, I want to thank my friend, one of our nice viewers, Moon Shadow, sent in a donation. Moon Shadow, thank you so much. You're so kind. By the way, we had some yesterday. It was from Sean, and for some reason it's not showing up. Hold on. Sean and Laura T from yesterday, and for some reason I didn't get to them when we ended the show last night. I felt really bad, but thank you to Moon Shadow, Sean, and Laura T. You guys are amazing. That money is going into our sort of like fundraising for the Patrick Oren Stevenson trial, which is coming up in April. Every donation I get right now is going into a little bit of a savings account, so we can head out to that trial in April, which is for the missing woman in Ballarat. So you guys will be first on the scene. You guys will get the information every day, just like we did for Erin Patterson. And it's going to be a really big trial. It's going to be a really big one. Hey, Snapcrackle, how are you? So glad she was found safe. Me too. Me too. Kelly said, just jump back in. So those Facebook rumors were true. It sounds like it. They were. Danny said, my son in kindergarten got off the wrong bus. I was frantic. His friend's mom called. He never did another bus ride. I mean, I think that could be, I get why you might have been really worried and never put him on the bus ever again. Gail said, I lived on an army base inside the wire, so you needed army ID to get in, but I still collected my kids. That's very interesting. Kathy said, please help Ping with the trial fundraising. I appreciate it. A lot of people have, and we're up to about $350. So I appreciate it. Everyone's been very kind. Everyone's been very sweet. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Gail said, yeah, we did that one. All right. Let's go to more updates. What else do we have on Ping's stories? By the way, the fallout, I know we were going to talk about this last night and we never did it. That fallout from the Idaho picture thing, oh my God. Apparently the families of Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan they've filed a lawsuit against WSU. They're also, I think, they might file a lawsuit against the police department and maybe the Daily Mail for putting those photos all over the media. I mean, I would not be surprised if they did. I don't know how it must feel to open the paper one day and see poorly redacted photos of your child murdered in their rental property. Like, I get crime scene photos are one thing, but you know, like we've all seen crime scene photos where the bodies have been taken and then we see the scene of the crime. That's fine. Like that's a scientific thing that some people want to see how this happened, what happened there. I get that. But body bags and victims still there and lying in situ, I don't think that needs to happen. And that's really sad. It's really, really sad. Sean said, I paid you overtime. Oh, yes, that's right. There was 2 of them. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's very kind. Woman of Steel said, I didn't hear about this. When did it happen? So earlier this week, there was a chunk of photos that were released. I believe it was like 3,000 photos. I actually have them on my computer here. How many photos is it? 3,000 photos. It's a lot. I'm not sure what the highest number is here. Let me have a look. Maybe like 2,700 and something. There's around 3,000 photos, and they're all crime scene photos. Most of them are, and unfortunately, in their rush to redact them, they didn't redact them properly. There's one where you can see one of the girls at the bottom of the photo. She's lying where she died, and you can see defensive wounds on her arm. You can see her face and her hair and stuff. There's another one where you can see the when victims get levity in their body, well, you can see the where her butt was. So there's blood that has seeped through the pants, and then it's on the ground, and it's left a butt print. Like, that could have been redacted. There's photos of one of the girls' vibrators. There's photos of their undie drawer. There's, other ones where there's victims. There's one in a body bag. These things should have been redacted. We've talked about it before. Even in a violent crime that's so public like this, the victims deserve respect. They do. They're not a public piece of property. They're someone's children. They're someone's friends. And to just be like, oh, that's fine. We did a good enough job. That's not okay. And I'm glad they took them down, but they still made it into the public domain. They were up long enough that people were able to get them. So it's really sad. Woman of Steel said, "Why rush? Did they want the scoop?" I'm not sure what happened why the redacting wasn't done properly. I'm not sure, but they did take it down when they were notified, and then I think they put up another set that had been redacted more thoroughly, but it's already out in the public domain and it'll never go away. They'll be available forever. Just because you take them down doesn't mean they're not out there. Like, I was late to the news on it, and within 5 seconds, I was able to find out where to get them. It's not like they're hard to find, and that's part of the problem, is that they're out there now. So, yeah. Gayla said that drawer, etc., wouldn't have been used in court, so why release them? I think they had to. I think it was a court order saying that all evidence had to be released, including the photos, but it could have been redacted properly. Kelly said the case was so sad and so unnecessary, just pure evil. I didn't follow closely. It was too emotional. One of the family members released a statement online about it, and they said that they were very disappointed to see a lot of people like zooming in on tiny bits and pixels and coming up with theories about maybe there was multiple perpetrators. And I mean, we already have a guy in prison. There's a guy who's admitted to the crime. There is no accomplice. It is just him. If he didn't do it, then he would have gone to trial to try and get out of it, and he didn't. He accepted the plea deal. So he is the one who is responsible, and that is it. And yeah. So yeah, we're not going to go through them. I'm not going to put them up. I just don't see the point. I don't think we all want to sit here for 2 hours and look at crime scene photos. I mean, what value would it add to anything? Woman of Steel said, I've never heard of such a thing before. They do it in, like, when we did the Aaron Patterson case, at the end, the evidence was released to the public or to the media. That's common. That happens at most cases at the end when there's a verdict. So at the end, the media is allowed access to what was shown in court or relied upon as evidence. Just normally it's redacted better than this. So yeah, it's a little sad, and there's a lot of fallout from it. Family members are posting things on Facebook about it. They are very upset at some of the people on TikTok and YouTube who are using it as a way to just be creepy and ghoulish, zooming in on tiny things and being like, oh, look, is this someone's, X, Y, and Z? And so It's really sad because I think every time these photos are released, it must be more traumatic for the family because then they have to go through the whole cycle again for a week or two, dealing with all the people coming to their social media and annoying them and media contacting them and asking them, and there must be a lot of stuff that goes into it, which is must be very hard for them. So I don't, I don't want to be a part of it. But yeah, pretty sad. All right. We don't do many stories from Alaska. And it's a shame. We had a friend that used to come to this channel that was from Alaska, but she hasn't been here in about a year. I'm not sure what happened to her, but I hope she's okay. I hope one day she comes back. But we have a story tonight from Alaska. Fairbanks man charged with murder after shooting his own grandmother. 29-year-old man admits to stealing his grandfather's handgun and shooting his 87-year-old grandmother, and this was in Fairbanks, Alaska. Crazy, right? To shoot your own grandma. She's almost 90 years old. Some people, right? I'll show you a mugshot after this too.
Well, a family tragedy occurred in Fairbanks. Police say a young man has killed his own grandmother inside of her home. It's a case raising serious questions about mental health and what warning signs may have been missed. Johnson Kuhn has details.
Fairbanks police say 29-year-old Brian Davenport fatally shot his 87-year-old grandmother Velma Coons at her Fairbanks home on 22nd Avenue Tuesday. Officers found Davenport outside the home behaving erratically and transported him to the Fairbanks Memorial Hospital, where he was placed on a mental health hold. Less than an hour later, authorities received a separate report of gunshots fired from the same location. When police arrived, they found Coons dead in her home. Officers say she was still seated in her wheelchair with a fatal gunshot wound to the back of her head. Investigators learned that Coons was under hospice care and had been diagnosed with intestinal cancer. Coons' son, George Coons, was in court today saying Davenport has a history of not taking his medications, encouraging the state to not release him.
He's a danger to the public. Obviously, he assaulted his mother last summer, and now my mother.
We've included the full charging doc on our website and mobile app. This case.
Horrible. This poor woman with intestinal cancer and her own grandson shoots and kills her. What is going on in the world where this has to be a thing? Yeah, we have a document here. I'll see if I can open it or download it. Hold on. Let me see if I can download it. Yep. All right. Let's go here. So he's been charged with murder in the first degree. Defendant Brian Jeffrey Davenport, State of Alaska. And anything else here? No modifier. No conspiracy, solicitation, attempt, or gang related, but murder in the first degree, felony. That on or about the 20th day of January at or near Fairbanks, the above named defendant did unlawfully commit the offense of murder in the first degree. And it says here, with intent to cause the death of another person, he or she caused the death of any person. And they're saying here, they received a 911 call. The caller was identified by his phone number as Brian Davenport. Brian called 911, provided the address, and then did not reply to any of the dispatcher's prompts. An officer was dispatched to the location. Davenport was pacing back and forth on the side of the road in front of an address. During her contact with Brian, he was exhibiting careless behavior walking in the roadway. That led her to believe he could be hit by a car. She asked if he was Brian, and he said yeah. Based on her interaction with Brian, she did not feel like he was safe to care for himself and brought him to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital for Title 47. They said here, at approximately 15:45 hours, the Fairbanks PD received reports of shots fired at the address. They said they advised that a female had been found deceased with what appeared to be a gunshot to the head. That same officer went back to the home, went inside the residence, and found Velma Kuntz, 87. She was in a wheelchair with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the back of the head. The detective spoke with Keith, who is I'm guessing it's the partner, who stated that he had been at the store and forgot his card. While traveling back home, he called Brian, who did not answer his phone. When Kunz got back home, he saw his gun outside, picked it up with a rag, and moved it into the house. He saw Velma with what he believed to be a bloody nose sitting in her wheelchair. When he went to render aid to her, he observed that she had had a gunshot at the back of her head. They're saying here, at the hospital, the officer walked into Brian's room and he told her, "I killed someone." Davenport was detained and transported to Fairbanks PD. He was brought into the investigations interview room where a detective read him his Miranda rights. Davenport waived his rights and agreed to speak with detectives. In essence, Davenport admitted to stealing his grandfather's gun out of his nightstand. He stated that he was on his way to go kill someone else, but then walked behind his grandmother in her wheelchair. He described pulling the hammer back on the revolver. He stated that he shot her in the back of the head. When asked why, Davenport made multiple statements advising that he wanted his grandmother to go peacefully and that he didn't want her to worry about the legacy she left behind. What? Detectives speaking with Kunz learned that Velma was under hospice care and had intestinal cancer. Davenport agreed that killing someone is wrong. A review of the above shows that Davenport intended to kill Velma. He acknowledged that he had a reason for wanting her dead. When asked if Velma verbalized anything to him about fear of her legacy or not going out peacefully, he said no. He instead compared the decision to pulling the plug on someone in a hospital. He then held a revolver to the back of her head and pulled the trigger. He's been placed under arrest for murder in the first degree. What? What do you mean you were on your way to go kill someone else and then you walked behind your grandmother and decided, wow, just might as well kill her as well? What a weirdo. What is going on in that guy's head? No, it sounds like they got called to that address, and when they got there, they found Brian pacing in the roadway. So the officer took him to the hospital. They then got called back out to that address for reports of gunfire. It just so happened that that officer found Brian first, and then when they got called back out to that property, they then went inside and found Velma with the gunshot wound. The officers put two and two together and realized they had just picked up a guy acting really weird and he was in the hospital. So they went back to the hospital to interview Brian, and then he admitted to killing his grandmother, who they found in the home. So, and then they went through all of this. Yeah, he had already done it. Yep. So that's why he was pacing on the roadway back and forward, acting weird, calling 911. This guy, so at first he said to the officers he was off to kill someone else, and then it turned into a mercy killing of his grandma. I don't think so. I'm not sure why he killed his grandma, but I don't think it was a mercy killing. It doesn't sound like it, and it sounds like he was just making stuff up for no reason. What a strange reason to go and kill your grandma. This is just the rest of the files here. But yeah, there is the criminal complaint from the District Superior Court for the state of Alaska at Fairbanks. So he's in jail. He's going to go to trial unless he pleads guilty for murder in the first degree. Let me see if I can find a photo of him for Brian. Brian Jeffrey Davenport. Let's see if we can find a photo of him. I don't see a photo of the guy. Interesting. No, I don't see like oh yeah, this one here. So this is the home where they found Velma dead. This is Brian here, and he's in the turtle suit. There you go. He's got the suit that all people in the first degree have to wear if you're charged with murder or a life sentence is a possibility. You have to wear that suit because they think that you might in jail. Tharby said he may have not wanted her to suffer with cancer, but that is not the way to deal with it. I know, right? Winter still said, I don't know if I buy his defense. I don't think I buy anything he said. I want to know who the person was that he wanted to go and kill. Who was the other person that he wanted to go and kill? And why? And if he wanted to go kill that other person, why didn't he? Like, why did he kill his grandma and then just go out in the roadway and start pacing backwards and forwards and calling 911? Why didn't you go to this other person and kill them too if that was your original motivation? Because to me, it's probably not true. It's probably just rubbish he's talking about. Hey, Elaine Telling, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Glad you could be here. You know, 30% of people who watch his show have not subscribed to the channel. I was checking my analytics last night. 30% of people who watch his show for more than 5 minutes have not ever hit that subscribe button. You probably should if you like to hear stories from around the world and the US. We'll keep an eye on Brian J. Davenport, and we'll see what happens to him in the future. He's due back in court on Friday, January 30. He's currently being held on a $5 million bond, and he's only appeared for his arraignment so far, but he is back in court on this Friday. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll go from there. All right. I have another story that I would like to talk to you about. Do you guys remember last week we covered a story about a couple of grandparents who were found dead in South Carolina? Do you guys remember this? In Oconee County? And they lived in that house that was quite secluded up the back. It was Larry Moore and his wife Sandra Moore. Well, according to Rachel sent me an update saying that the person who killed them was someone they knew. They are alleging that it was their 19-year-old grandson who stabbed and strangled his grandparents to death inside of their South Carolina home. How terrible. What is with these children killing their grandparents?
We're continuing coverage of breaking news in Oconee County. We are learning new details about a couple found dead in their home.
And as the community mourns, the coroner is describing their injuries as traumatic. And right now, the sheriff's office is investigating their deaths as a homicide. Our Caitlin Ashbaugh joins us live after speaking to officials and some people who knew the couple personally. And Caitlin, this is tough for a lot of folks who live there.
Absolutely, Sydney. Rashad, there's just this outpour of shock and heartbreak across Westminster today. We're told that Larry and Sandra Moore were just this community pillar. Not only that, but they treated everyone around them like family. Westminster is a home to just over 2,000 people. It's hard to find someone who didn't know the Moores or the impact they leave behind.
Most of us started at More and More Fish Camp. And they were kind and generous and very godly people. And I really don't think they realized how much they impacted all of us in the community just by being themselves.
Former employees called More and More Fish Camp a Westminster staple. Larry and Sandra Moore ran the restaurant for decades, giving many their first jobs. Warm, hardworking, genuine. After closing shop in 2016, we're told the couple, both in their 70s, were living in retirement.
I know myself, I always looked forward to running into them in town, and we would just reminisce about the good old days, and it really just felt like home.
The Oconee County Sheriff's Office says a family member called 911 on Thursday, unable to get in touch with them. The last time contact was made was earlier this week. Deputies arrived at the couple's home on Cromer Moore Drive and found both of them dead.
Oh, it was heartbreaking.
And investigators believe that there's no danger to the public, that this is an isolated incident.
It is a homicide investigation by our office.
If you were in the area between Tuesday evening and Thursday morning and either noticed something suspicious or you have security camera footage, you are being asked to contact the sheriff's office immediately. If you would prefer to remain anonymous, the sheriff's office says you can submit tips anonymously through Crime Stoppers, online, on the P3 app, or by calling 1-844-71-CRIME. Authorities are offering a cash reward for any information leading to an arrest.
Citizens may have information that can help us be able to solve this case. And that is so very critical to what we do here in law enforcement. If anybody saw anything suspicious, home security cameras, you're in the area, certainly call us.
What a sad update to that one. Now, when we looked at their home, we sort of knew that it would have to be someone who knew them because their home is so isolated and it's sort of tucked up the back of this property where you would sort of have to know it was there. There's other homes in the front of it, and there's no way you would just stumble across it and kill two grandparents. And it explains a couple of things. Neighbors didn't hear anything, nor did they report anyone funny sort of like lurking around. So that makes me think that because it was the grandson, there was no alarm that had been risen. So, hey, Nick, how are you? Why? Where did you go? Where did Nick disappear to for the holidays? I don't know. Nick, you're going to have to tell us, all right? You're going to have to tell us. We've all been waiting for 4 weeks to find out where you've been. You know, that's what we've been doing. We've done 32 shows on where have you been? That's what we've been doing. Really sad update. I was hoping it was going to be something different to that, but it seems like it was exactly what we thought. We both, I think me and all the viewers, all thought it was someone that was very well known to them. I'm trying to see, did we get a photo of the kid, of the son? Is that him? No, it's not him. I was trying to see if we got a photo of the kid, but I don't think we did. Let me try and see if it's Levi Kevin James. He's been charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. So that's what he's been charged with. Let me see if I can find. There he is. I found his mugshot. Here's his mugshot. This is him, 19-year-old Levi, and he killed his grandparents. Look, he's wearing the schmuck here. Oh, you passed your PhD. Well done, my friend. Well done. Good work. Is that where you've been? That seems like an acceptable excuse to be away. Good work, though, my friend. Good work. Congratulations. Good work, Nick. Hey, Cold Case Girl. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. That's okay. That's okay. We're glad you're back now. Now you're the smarty pants of the chat. Apparently, you are the most educated out of all of us. We're going to have to refer to you for everything now. We're going to have to call it Nights with Nick. We're going to have to get a new sign and everything. We just got this one. Now we're going to have to change it. It was in being the world's smartest person. That's what the PhD was in. It's obvious. All right. That's Levi up there on your screen. Let's see what else I can find here for you. So it sounds like, yeah, Levi Kevin Jones is his last name. In Oconee County, South Carolina, possession of a weapon during a violent crime. He's got 2 charges for that, and then the 2 charges for first-degree murder. They arrested him pretty quickly, 23rd of the 1st. So that's like about a week turnaround, 1 week turnaround. So Dr. Nick, yeah, Dr. Nick. In one very specific area only, medieval dress, not useful for life. It's useful if you send Ping a full suit of armor, like a knight. I would wear it on the show. Maybe I could do that. You know, with the big thing on the head, the big like red thing or whatever, or the cockerel thing. I would do it. I would wear it on the show. I would do a whole show dressed in a suit of medieval armor. I could do it. I reckon I could do a whole show. Montana says, do you think his parents suspected him? Yes, I do. I think that when the grandparents were killed, it's very strange that we never heard of like an alert. Like there was no, we're looking for this person or this car was seen in the neighborhood. It was just like, oh, we arrested the grandson. It's almost like the family knew who might have done it to the grandparents, like very upset with them, obviously. But it sounds like the family may have had a really good idea of who it might have been. You're going to go thrifting? You might be able to, but you wouldn't be able to send it. It'd be too heavy. Nick said it would be Knights with Ping. I can glue a K onto the sign. I could do it. I could glue a K. It's only one letter. I could make some out of like a UV piping and put it on there. Very sad story though. Very, very sad. You wonder what drives a young man of 19 to kill his grandparents, and I wonder if it was monetary motivated. I wonder if he thought, oh, if my grandparents die, I'm going to get an inheritance. I wonder if that's what it was. I really do. Because at 19, what else could be the motivation for killing your grandparents if not for money? I just have a funny feeling it's going to be that. You like the new sign? It's pretty good. We're going to make it go higher, but we haven't been able to figure out how to adjust the chain. So it's on a chain with 2 key rings at the end, and the key rings have like a hook on it that hook into the sign, but we haven't figured out how to make it shorter. So we need to make the chain a lot shorter and then put the hooks back on the chain. So it's something we're looking at doing. Montana said, too hot for chainmail, you'd be barbecued in that heat. I have an air conditioner. It's running. I could do it for a show. There's an aircon on right now. I could do it. Gayla said, did he just want his inheritance faster? I reckon that's exactly what it was. That it was, he thought if they died, he would get a chunk of money because they were quite wealthy. His grandparents were quite well off. They worked hard all their lives into their 80s. Like you heard, they owned a restaurant and they worked there. They didn't just own the restaurant and like sit at home and collect a paycheck. They worked in the establishment in their 80s. They were very hardworking people, and I think they were quite well off, and that if they died, of course, there would be an inheritance for the grandchild, which is awful. SP1 said mono zip ties with a chain. Okay, we could do that. I think anytime you try and murder your grandparents for money, it really shows you what kind of person you are on the inside. You would trade all those nice memories with your grandparents, who, by all accounts, were lovely people. So many people love those two people. And the fact that you would go over there with the sole intention of killing them for money. I think it tells you exactly what this kid is like, and it's what a horrible kid. Or he stole from the home. Could have been. I hope his parents disown him. Yeah. You have dozens of shows to watch on replay. It's going to be a Ping feast, a Ping or a Peast. It could be all of them. I thought it was duct tape. Duct tape? We could do duct tape. Yeah, Larry Moore and Sandra Moore. Sorry, I said into their 80s, into their 70s they worked. They worked into their 70s. What and like you heard, everyone loved them. Like the town knew them. Everyone sort of had met them. They were well known. It's not like they were just, horrible old people that were grouchy or whatever. Not that that would make it any like an excuse for killing them, but the whole town knew who these people were, had visited their restaurant, like families had known them throughout the town. They knew them through the church. The town is poorer because Larry and Sandra Moore are gone. And all because this little punk, Levi Kevin Jones, decided, oh, I'm going to go there. So apparently he's accused of stabbing his grandfather multiple times and then strangling his grandmother. Investigators said they have a motive for the murders, but are not releasing it at this time. I will put $100 bet that it's inheritance motivated. I reckon that's the only thing it can be. That he thought he would get money if they died. He's too young to be involved in anything else in their lives. I just have a funny feeling. Espionage said, it's bedtime, can't wait. All right, have fun. Espionage said, money for murder, or was he part of ritual? I don't know if there's any rituals. This is not Salem, Pennsylvania. We're not drowning any witches. Diane says, maybe cut some links from the middle of the chain and put the chain back together. We thought of using like a wire cutter and clipping the chain, and then maybe using like a heat gun to open up the metal links and then closing it again with a pair of pliers. That was a possibility. I have a heat gun. I could do that. Tharvey said, I'm with you, Ping. Thank you. I'm glad we are like this. We're like this, like they do in Friends. Like this. We're like this. That type of rage isn't money, it's revenge. Revenge for what? Being cut off, maybe? Maybe they were supplying him with money like a lot of grandparents do. Like when you were 19, if you had grandparents, did your grandparents like often pay for like your schooling, or every school year would they give you a little bit of money to help like with university or something like that? I know a lot of grandparents who do that for their grandchildren. Like they will be like, here's a bit of money to buy books or a computer, or something like that that you might need for university or something like that. I didn't have that, but I know other people who have had that relationship with their grandparents. Maybe it was something like that, and because he wasn't, doing the right thing in life, they weren't going to support him anymore. Colgate's girls, so can you imagine how sad they must have been to realize their own grandson was murdering them? Must have been, the last few seconds of their life must have been horrific. You mean Salem, Massachusetts? Oh yeah, not Pennsylvania. That's where Dracula lives. Not the witches. The witches are in Salem, Massachusetts. Espionage said, we grew up poor. I was the first to go to college. Maybe I just don't know money. Yeah. I grew up poor too, guys. You guys know my story. I lived on my own since I was 13. Never had anything given to me. Not a single dollar when I was growing up. Nothing. No inheritance. I've never inherited anything from anyone ever. And I've no trust funds or anything like that. Everything I've got is because of me. That's it. It's not because I was given money from family or never. I've never received that type of thing in my life. Gayla said, the one thing I can't say, Massachusetts? Okay. Montana says, I was born to older parents. Grandparents had passed. Sad I never got to know them. Oh, that is a bit sad, isn't it? Tharvey said he probably got taken out of the will. Possibly, because maybe he wasn't doing what... some families, they're like, well, if you go to college, we'll look after you and we'll do whatever, we'll help you. And if you don't, well, you can do that, but you got to get a job and you got to do something with your life. You got to take up a trade, or you got to go work for the family or whatever. Maybe it was something like that. Lisbeth said, I need to get an update on your story, Ping. You seem to have done a good job with yourself. I've had a very hard life, and it is not something I talk about a lot. I've talked about it maybe twice in 1,000 episodes of this show. I think I've talked about it maybe once or twice. Gail said, I only knew one granddad when he passed. I was around 12 or 13. It's interesting. Interesting, but I can't think of too many reasons why he would want to kill his grandparents. And the only thing I can think of is something monetary, because it's not like he had a sexual relationship with his grandparents. So it's not lust. It's not like he had a relationship breakdown with them that might cause murder, except if it was driven by money. So I can't think of like an alternate theory of why he would want to do that, except if it was something to do with inheritance or money or them looking after him during college or something. Warner still said, my grandpa didn't have money. He sent me $1 every birthday and $5 for Christmas. He died when I was in 11th grade. I would give everything I owed to have him back. That's so cute. I know there's some cute grandparents that do that, right? That send like $1 or $5 on a birthday and that. When I was young, my grandma used to do that. When I had a grandma, she used to do that on my birthday. She'd put $5 in a card and she would post it, because she didn't live locally. She lived far away. So she would post it for my birthday. So yeah, I can relate because my grandma did that too. So unfortunately, my grandparents are not that I've seen them in almost 35 years, but they are both dead. They are both died. They died 20 years ago, something like that. So I had grandparents on one side of the family and grandparents on the other side. Unfortunately, in the last 25 years, they're both sets have died. They're passed away. So I think most of them died before the 2010s. They had all passed away. So as far as I know. Warner still said he was wonderful. That's nice. I hope you keep doing stuff for him. Like, so my granddad that I knew from recently, which is her grandfather, he died a couple of years ago. You guys, if you've been around the channel, would know that I went to the funeral and all that happened like 2-3 years ago now. So we're coming up on the Mrs. Ping, is it the second anniversary of Granddad dying this year? Or third? Maybe it's the third anniversary this year in March. So every March, we get together with the family and we have fish and chips. And I'll tell you why. Because on the day of his funeral, we went back to my grandma's house, or her grandma's house, for sort of like a wake with the family. And we're all like, oh, we're sort of hungry, sort of not. Everyone's very sad. And then someone suggested that we get fish and chips because there's a place around the corner from the house. And it was so weird. The entire family all agreed. And if you know our family, that never happens, ever. No one ever agrees in unison about anything. There's always someone who wants Chinese. There's always someone who wants a pizza. There's always someone who wants sushi. But on this one day, everyone wanted fish and chips. And so every March on the anniversary of Granddad dying, or his funeral, we go back and do the same thing every year. So we will probably do that in about 6 weeks from now. Donna said we did that with my mum, Ping. Yeah, isn't that cool? I'm happy to know that some other families did the same thing. Yeah, I don't know why it worked out that way, but it's now become a tradition. And each March we do that now, and we just sort of have like a Memorial Day for Granddad. Thavi said grandparents can teach us a lot if we let them. Yeah, I agree. Kim said that's very sweet. Yeah, a strange story, because I promise everyone in this family always wants something different or can't agree on nothing, except for that day. SPL said that is so sweet. Yeah, I think so. Either that or Granddad really wanted fish and chips that day, and he told us we could eat them or something. It was weird because that's the other thing. I don't think as a family we had ever eaten fish and chips together. Ever. Never. It's never happened. And that was the only time it ever happened. It was really odd, very strange. Nobody felt like eating. Yeah, that's sort of what it was. Like no one was really that hungry, and I don't think anyone had strong opinions about what we ate as such, but it worked out well. Everyone really enjoyed it, and it sort of picked up everyone's spirits a little bit because everyone was a little sad and a little downtrodden with the funeral and stuff like that. Rachel said grandparents are a special gift. That is true. Gail said, did he like fish and chips? Mrs. Ping, Granddad liked fish and chips, right? Yeah, he liked it. I think when he got a little older, that he didn't eat the chips and that anymore, because of his health. He would sort of eat the fish, but he wouldn't eat the fried chips and stuff. But when he was younger, he did. He used to eat it. Woman of Steel said, "Now I want some good hot fish and chips." Do they do that in America? Is that a thing? Do you guys eat like battered fish with the fries and stuff like that? It's definitely an Australian and British tradition. I don't know about America though. I mean, maybe in like if you live in like near the water, near Maine or South Carolina or Florida, maybe SoCal in Southern Cali. I would suggest maybe when it's near the water would be a big thing. Why do you guys make then answer this? If you're an American then and you do eat it, like these people are saying that you guys do eat it, why then do you make such a big deal about going to England and eating fish and chips or coming to Australia and eating fish and chips if you eat it in your own country? Why is it such a big deal when you go to the UK or Australia? I don't really get it. Because if you eat it locally, it's the same thing. Like why do you come here then and want to eat it? It's weird. Gayla said our chippies aren't as good as they used to be around my area. A new one opened today, but it's nearly £11 for a fish supper. I swear, fish and chips is not cheap anymore. We go to our one, and I swear to God, we get like a couple bits of fish, some chips, and maybe like a few other like nibbly type things. It's like $45. Like $45. It's not, I don't know what happened to fish and chips being a cheap food. It's not anymore. Gayle, in Scotland, they have this thing called a munchie box. Have you ever heard of this? Since we're going to talk about food for 5 minutes. I've always wanted to try one because they look freaking amazing and they look like the best thing you'd buy if you've been drinking a little bit. They're called a munchie box. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you. It's like there's all different ones. There's all these different ones you can get. There's ones that have like Indian food and there's ones that have like fish and chips. And so they're like a giant box filled with like random stuff. This one's got fries and kebab meat and chicken drumsticks and whatever that is and all this type of thing, a fried Mars bar or something. And then they have other ones that have like Indian food and fries. They're crazy. I think this is the greatest invention. Look, it's got tandoori chicken and chips for some reason. And whatever this is up here, you get like all these things and they're called munchie boxes. And they're like a real big thing in Scotland. And I think it's the greatest idea they've ever come up with. In Scotland, like there's even ones where you can get like a pizza in it. Look, there's one. This one's got like a pizza, curly fries, kebab meat, coleslaw, and chicken wings. So I don't know, it's like the weirdest idea, but I love it. Gail said can have everything in it. I know. I would buy this if they made it in Australia. I'd probably buy it because I'm a weird person. When I eat takeaway or something like that, I want a little bit of everything. I don't want like just one thing. I sort of want like to pick at like several different things. So this would actually suit my appetite. Yeah, it's sort of like it's not for one person. It's for like a family. It's for like a family. Um Tangle Cord says, I always wonder the same thing, Ping. Nobody can make fish and french fries like me. You know what's American? Most of us are just plain weird. It is a great idea, right? Is that like the curry sauce, Gala? Is that like the red one? It looks like dog vomit, Ping. I know. It's just odd. Anyway, I think it looks interesting. I think I don't know if they'll bring it to Australia or not, but I think it's a funny idea that they do these sort of like mixture. See, here's another one that looks a bit more appetizing. See, you sort of get like the salad and the kebab meat and the chips and then onion rings and I don't know what these red things are, but you get them, and I don't know what these things in the middle are, but you get them too. And you get a dipping sauce and I they need to bring it to Australia. We have a million fish and chip shops here. Jack in the Box. We have Jack in the Box in Australia now. What's the place that you guys have that has the mouse? What's the one where you have a mouse and it's got like pizza and video games? What's the place that has that? Chuck E. Cheese? Australia opened a Chuck E. Cheese down here. We had a Chuck E. Cheese open down here not long ago. Chuck. We had one open. It's in Western Australia, which is the dumbest place ever to open a freaking restaurant. But okay, they did. Look here, it's right here. They opened a Chuck E. Cheese in WA, and apparently they changed it slightly for the Australian market. Here's a little video for you of what it looks like in there. But they changed the menu and some of the names to suit Australians. But yeah, so they opened a Chuck E. Cheese down under. So there you go. It's got a play thing for little kids, and you can have birthday parties there, and you can eat pizza, and there you go. It's got the famous pizza from Chuck E. Cheese and some fruit. I don't know anyone who goes to Chuck E. Cheese to get fruit, but okay. And it's got an arcade and stuff. Yeah, so they opened one down here. I don't know if it's doing well or it's not doing well, but it is a thing. Chuck E. Cheese came to Australia. It's a long way to go into WA. Yeah, I don't know why they opened it on the West Coast. Kelly J said that damn giant mouse was so creepy as a kid having a party. It is a bit odd. Kathy said Chuck E. Cheese is a fun place for kids and then everyone goes home with a virus. SPO said that's way more high tech than any other Chuck E. Cheese I've seen. Yeah, they put a lot of money into it. I heard it was like millions of dollars that they did on the outfitting of it. So it's this giant it's huge too. The one in WA is massive. It's like the size of a small warehouse. It's pretty big. So yeah, apparently it's in Joondalup in Perth in WA. I'll see if I can find the map for it. Let's have a look. I'll show you where it is. Where is it? I think it's over here. Let me have a look. It's in this giant big box area. I'm just trying to see if the maps have been updated or not. I don't think the maps have been updated yet to show it here. Yeah, it's not been updated as of yet. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't show you the map for it because it's from 2024, and they were not open at that time. They didn't open until later on. But yeah, they do have one. So if you're an American and you want to give your kids the American treatment of a birthday party, you can head to WA and do a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party in Australia. So yeah, pretty cool. We're getting a lot of American brands. They're opening up a Wendy's here at the Australian Open that's on in Melbourne. We drove past it today, actually. They had, what's that burger chain that you guys have? Not In-N-Out. We already have In-N-Out in Australia. One of the other really big burger places in America, it's from New York, and that they had it at the Australian Open as a limited thing for the Australian Open. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the big ones. Cold Case Girl said, we don't have Chuck E. Cheese in Canada, but we have the Flying Squirrel, which is the same idea with the games and the pizza parties for kids. You don't take your children to Tim Hortons? You don't do that? I heard that all Canadians take their kids to Tim Hortons. It might be Five Guys, maybe. Was it Five Guys? I'll see. Hold on. Australian Open Burger USA. No, it was Shake Shack. Shake Shack was at the Australian Open. So yeah, if you went to the Australian Open in Melbourne, they had a limited edition Shake Shack at the Australian Open. Here's the photo of it. They had a very limited time restaurant, so it was limited edition apparently, and it won't be there after the Australian Open. It'll be gone. So nah, it was a Shake Shack. So Lisbeth said, I'm going to be unpopular, but I do not like all these fast food places being imported. We have enough obesity as it is already. Ping does not eat fast food, and I say that, and I have a KFC burger sitting on my counter for my lunch, and I'll tell you this, that burger is only the first time in 15 years that I've had one. I don't eat fast food. If I do eat takeaway, it's normally something like Chinese food or noodles or something like that. I don't eat like KFC, Hungry Jack's. I had a little bit of McDonald's when I was at the trial, and that's only because there was nothing else around. And about the only thing I could find to eat at the trial was McDonald's. But other than that, I don't eat it. Not in my daily life anyway. Yeah, I can't wait till the Wendy's opens closer to me. I want to try it, but it's not open yet down here. Gail said, ours aren't the same as Americans. We have higher food standards. That is true, even in Australia. That's why it costs. Do you know how much this Shake Shack cost? You guys won't believe it. I think a burger, a drink, and fries was like $45. $45 for a burger, fries, and a drink. 45 bucks at the Australian Open. That is insane. 50 bucks for a lunch. Pretty crazy. Yeah, there we go. I know that wasn't very true crime related, but we always get onto food on a Saturday night, and I blame all of you. I blame everyone in the chat, everyone watching. It's all your fault. All of your fault. No one else's, just yours. Let's see. Okay. You know, there was a story that came out in the media this week about a guy called Andrew Joseph Martin. Do you guys remember we had a guy in Florida who killed his stepdaughter, not really stepdaughter, but you know what I mean, and had been touching her for a number of years. Well, apparently in Anderson County, there was another one. A man and a woman had been arrested after a child reported that she had been SA'd over several years. Deputies said the girl had been sexually A-worded by Andrew Joseph Martin, 38, for years and was pressured to keep quiet. Misty Danielle Norris, 35, was also arrested after she admitted to deputies that she knew about the ongoing SA between Andrew and the girl. Martin was charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor, and Norris was charged with accessory and unlawful neglect of a child. What the hell? Who are these people? And why? It's bonkers. So this is in Carolina, in Belton. I'm going to take you here in Fox, Carolina for an update. There's the photo of the two of them, by the way.
In Anderson County, a man is accused of sexually abusing his stepdaughter. Andrew Martin is charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor, and the victim's mother, Misty Norris, is charged with unlawful neglect of a child. Deputies say Martin abused the victim for years, and Norris knew about it. Detectives are still investigating and say Martin will face more charges.
What a horrible stepfather. The fact that this wasn't like even if it was a one-off thing, it would be horrible, right? Multiple years. Multiple years. Yeah, these two look dodgy as hell. Why is he smiling? I don't know. Guy is 38. Looks like he's 48 and divorced. Guy is old. She looks like a bulldog that is trying to take a smiling photo. You know, like when people have those bulldogs and you're like, smile for the camera, Freddy. That is her. She is a bulldog. You could mistake her and take her to the pound. They'd be like, whoa, 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 where are you taking that person? They're like, that's not a person, it's a bulldog. We're taking her to the pound. And they're like, no, it's a woman. Her name is Misty. And they're like, are you sure? Are you sure? She looks like a bulldog. And they're like, no, it's definitely a woman. We're taking her into custody. She is not mother of the year material at all. The fact that she was okay with it and just let him do it. Very similar to that guy in Florida, Stephen Stearns. Very similar to him. And in this particular case, Misty Norris was charged. In the Stearns investigation, the mum was never charged, and she should be. She should have been. 100%. Gayla said, don't be so cruel to dogs. Yes, I won't be cruel to the bulldogs any further. Yeah, Stephen Stearns is almost a mirror image of this particular one, but this one's not getting the media coverage, and I think it's probably because the girl didn't die. But does that make it that much different? Does it really? Like, if I told you that Maddie or Madeline didn't die, but she did suffer through all the things that Stephen Stearns did to her, do you think the coverage would have changed? Do you think it would be different? Or do you think people would still be upset about it? I think people would still be very upset about it. But then I ask the question, why is no one talking about this one then? Because it basically is the same case as the Madeline Soto one. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is the little girl in this one was able to report what has been happening to her and get the stepfather or whatever he is arrested along with the mum. So I just don't think that they're that far apart, and that the same outrage that people had about Madeline Soto should be directed to these two people as well. Kelly said, gross, Stephen Stone, thank you, Ping. You helped get rid of my hunger from all the food talk. He is a gross individual. Gayla said, be different, as it only got so big as they were looking for her. You think so? Do you think if Madeline was found alive that it would have died down and been a story like this that no one is talking about? I'm interested because it's strange to see why sometimes we get stories that break through and become sort of mainstream within the true crime and the general news cycle. And then you have stories like this that, unless I told you about it, you probably would never hear about it. I promise. You would never hear about it. So, interesting. Gail said, well, that's how it got into the news, because she was missing. Right, I agree. But I think people should have the same outrage for this little girl, too. This little girl, she's not dead, and she has to deal with what happened to her, what this guy did to her. And, she's got a whole life ahead of her of having to do that. So I don't think they give us a name. Do they give us an age of the little girl? 14-year-old girl. They're saying here, according to the sheriff's office, deputies were called to the home in Belton on January 2nd and identified a 14-year-old girl asking for help from law enforcement. Oh my God. She called law enforcement asking if they could help her. Deputies mentioned that the 35-year-old Misty Norris was also charged after she admitted to knowing about the acts between Martin and the girl. The sheriff said Martin had been charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor in the first degree. They said here, deputies said they are still in the midst of investigating and more charges are pending for Martin. Good. He should have like 1 billion charges. If this has been going on for years, then they should throw hundreds of SA charges against him. Let me see what else I can find about these two. I don't know if I can find much else, but I'll try. Yeah, I'll take you to this one.
In Anderson County, 2 people are facing charges in a child sexual abuse investigation. Earlier this month, deputies responded to Murphy Hill Road in Belton, where they identified a young girl who was asking for help. After investigating, deputies say 38-year-old Andrew Martin sexually abused the girl over a period of years. We're told 35-year-old Misty Norris is also charged after she admitted she knew about the assaults. Detectives say more charges against Martin are possible.
By the way, this is one of the channels that we were unable to access before, WYFF4. Before we did the DNS trick, we weren't able to access this particular website, and now we can. And we get, now that we changed that thing, we get much better search results for different cases. So it's going to help the reporting on this channel a lot. So you guys are going to see much better reporting about these American cases. Let me see what else I can find here for you. All right, yeah, I'm going to take you to this one here as well.
2 people are facing charges in connection with the sexual assault of a teenager. Deputies with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office say 38-year-old Andrew Martin is accused of sexually abusing a young girl for years. We're told the arrest came after the teenager reached out to law enforcement for help. Martin is charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Deputies also arrested Misty Norris, who's
What a brave, they keep mentioning how that girl was the one to reach out to law enforcement. What a brave little girl. Really, for her to be the one who called authorities at 14. Brave, brave little girl, really. Cold Case Girl became a YouTube member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. That little girl, I don't know what happens to her now. Her mum is in jail. Her stepfather or whatever is now in jail too. Where does she go? It doesn't tell us where she is now. Apparently, Martin also had a bench warrant from 2017 in Westminster, and he was arrested on that too. So not only did he have these new charges, he's also got something from 2017 that he had been running from, and the law caught up with him when this 14-year-old girl reported him to authorities. So there you go. Kathy Lynch gifted a membership too. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. And for Cold Case Girl becoming another member, I appreciate both of you. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to someone else, but are they here? I just want to double check something. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah. Is she still in the chat? Let me see. Trying to find. Here we go. I think this is the right person, and I'm going to hope that it is. But thank you for the donation, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good to see you again. And your donation is very, very appreciated. And thanks for the story yesterday about the CCTV of that guy being killed after he broke into this house, and then the cop chased in after him, kicked the door down, and shot him. That was her story. So thank her for bringing that to us. Hey, Nick gifted a membership too. Thank you. Lots of it going around for everyone. It is, and you are welcome. Thank you, my friend. You are very kind. It's very sweet of you. That'll go towards the trial in April. So we hope to head back out there, give you that inside information every night like we did during Aaron Patterson. We'll be doing the same with this one too, which is a very important story. Let's end on that. Hold on. Let's talk about Samantha Murphy. For people who don't know the trial I'm talking about, Samantha Murphy went missing a few years ago now. Let me get you the details. So on February 4, 2024, Samantha Murphy left her home for a morning run. She was going to get some exercise in on a weekend. Hey, anyone who can wake up that early on a Sunday and go for a jog, that shows a very strong woman. She never came home. She had plans later that day to meet up with some friends for I think it was like a lunch. She was going to meet up with them, get some food, hang out, catch up with them, but she never ever made it to there. It is now almost 2 years later, and we don't know where she is. She is still considered a missing person. A man, a 23-year-old called Patrick Oren Stevenson, has pleaded not guilty. He is expected to stand trial in the Supreme Court on the 8th of April, 2026. And that trial is expected to last approximately 6 weeks. But like we saw with the Aaron Patterson trial, that one was also scheduled to last around the same time and went for much longer. We were up to like week 10 by the time we got out of there and got a verdict. I expect the same thing to happen here, and this trial will probably go for multiple weeks past that 6-week point. It will not end at 6 weeks, not a chance. So we will be there for that trial. That is what we're fundraising for right now, and it's getting very close. We've got about 2 months. Just over 2 months, and then we'll be heading to that particular trial, and I will be covering it daily for you, bringing you all the updates from the courtroom, like we did with Aaron Patterson in 2025. We'll be doing the same thing. Let me just get you an update thingy here. Yeah. Let me show you.
As a former mayor, Des Hudson feels a close connection to his community.
How are we doing? Did we want any coffees or anything like that? Absolutely, yeah.
But on the 4th of February last year, that relationship changed.
Tonight, the search stepped up for a missing Ballarat mother.
As he felt Ballarat's raw and emotional reaction to the disappearance of Samantha Murphy.
We saw people want to take a stand. We saw marches in the street.
She's part of our community.
Over the following months, as he fronted countless media conferences, Des Hudson became the very public face of the Ballarat community. But it was when addressing a community vigil, he felt the expectations of his city.
There was a great weight, I guess, on my shoulders as to what I would say, what the community was looking for, and then just tried to speak from the heart as to what people were feeling.
12 months on, he's no longer the mayor, but the case continues to occupy his thoughts.
I think the ultimate thing that we're looking for is for Samantha to be found, that her remains can be returned to her family, that she can have a decent burial and be laid to rest.
I was hoping that we would get into this year and start getting into the run up for the trial, and they would find her body, and then the trial would probably be moved till next year or 2027 or something like that. So they would have more time to do more forensic and things like that. But it is now late January, and I believe we are probably heading to trial in April. They tried to go for another search late last year, and they thought maybe they might be able to find her before the trial. And so far, they've come up empty handed. They have not been able to locate her. A couple of years ago, a few months after she went missing, they did find her mobile phone, but it never led to where her body was located. I think they were very excited when they did find that mobile, thinking it might lead them to where she was, but it never did. They weren't able to locate her, and still to this day, she is considered a missing person. And I think Ballarat, the wider Victoria, and further would like her to be able to go home, to go back to her family, so she can have a funeral and her family can say goodbye properly and give her a place, for them to go. The fact that they have nowhere to go, they don't know where she is it must be like an ache that they can't fix every day when they're out in that community, knowing that Samantha could be anywhere around here, anywhere they walk within their own town, could be meters away from where she is located. That must be one of the hardest things to go through day in and day out. And this trial will hopefully provide some answers as to what happened to Samantha Murphy. So I hope to be able to bring that to you in April. And I will bring you everything I have every day of the trial, every bit of info that I can. I will bring it to you. Anything I'm legally able to tell you, I will tell you. Donna said that spoiled low life should own up. He will never. I don't believe he ever will. And yeah, I agree. He should just tell them what he did with her. And I think it would go a long way to getting him a better sentence if he owned up to it, pled guilty, and showed them where the body was. There would be much more of a, the court would see that as remorse. And they would see that as him taking responsibility for what he'd done. And at least he could then show the court, hey, I am remorseful. I am accepting what I did. Here's how I'm trying to fix it. But him denying everything and going into the trial saying he's not guilty, if found guilty in a court of law, the court will take a very dim view of the fact that he pushed everyone into a multi-week, possibly multi-month long trial with a lot of media, and so he could help himself if he just pled guilty and showed them where Samantha is. See you, Nick. Bye. All right, go get your grocery order. Yeah, we're gonna wind up now too. Hey, I love you all so much. Thank you to all the nice people tonight. Cold Case Girl became a member. Kathy gifted a membership. Nick gifted a membership too, and Cold Case Girl gifted a membership. Plus, also the nice people from the PayPal link. Our friend True Crime, that is very kind of them. True Crime Junkiet gave a donation, and so did Deborah. Thank you so much, my friend. That's so kind. And my friend Vicky K as well. I love Vicky K. I hope Vicky K is doing well. Deborah too. I love Deborah as well. And my friend Moon Shadow. You guys have been all more than generous, and I really appreciate it. All that money will go to heading to this particular trial. That's what we're sort of saving up for now. So yes, good night, Kelly J. See you later. Hey, I love you all. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what time tomorrow I'll be on. I'm heading to, so Australia Day is tomorrow. We have a family birthday tomorrow that's a family member, and we're having a like family lunch. I don't know what time that might be and what time it'll finish, but I'll be on after I get home. Okay? Love you all. Drink coffee because murder is wrong. Yeah. Do that. And you'll find out more about our special guest later this week. I will tell you more when me and this person sort of agree a bit more on some specifics. But you guys will have a great guest coming up, someone I think you could learn a lot from. So keep an eye out for that too. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Stay warm out there, please. Get your fires going, get your heaters going, get those like electric blankets where you can plug it in and wrap it around and stay really warm. Do that. Get really warm and snuggle down and watch some good true crime documentaries. Watch like Film Rise or I don't know, watch Oxygen Channel. Watch Ping, Nights with Ping as well. We do a lot of true crime. All right. I love you all. Be safe out there if you're in the northeast and sort of the south central part of America. Be careful of all that ice out there and come back tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Remember, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up. They all really help with the stupid algorithmy thing. And we need all the help we can get to publicize this channel. All right. I love you all. Good night, everyone. Bye.